A question that I get asked a lot is how do we use actions for giving us ideas when it comes to color toning, and why would we do so? The question itself came from the fact that a lot of people have a difficult time understanding how to color grade or how to color tone or what direction they should take. For me personally, as a retoucher, I find that quite difficult because I am very technically minded. So when it comes to the artistic element of color grading, I have a general idea in where to go, but when it comes to advanced work, sometimes I really struggle with getting ideas and concepts in place. And that's when I use these actions to allow me to get to where I want to be. So for example, over here we have one image that Bella also shot, and we're going to be using this as a reference point in terms of our base palette and where we're going to go from here. So say for example, we start by using one of our most famous actions or the collection, which is the Regal action from the Royal collection. And I'm simply going to be running a couple of these to get a general idea in where we're going to be going with these colors and what the possibility is. Because ultimately, if we don't have any preferences to start out with, we're able to utilize the opportunities present when we see the full range of possibilities through these actions. Now, the Regal action itself generated a color palette which is very pleasing to me. And I mention that because everything looks harmonious, it brings out a lot of emotion in the image. And I think color is very much like emotion in that you sometimes know what you don't like just by your initial reaction. But when you give yourself different opportunities to explore different color palettes, you're able to connect visually and see what you like and don't like. For me personally, I really liked the way Regal pushed the image. So this is going to be one reference point that I'm going to be using. And on top of that, maybe we can run another one. If we come down here and possibly run black gold, we're able to see how this action interprets the base colors of this particular image. Now you notice right off the bat that this one is a lot cooler, it's a lot richer and moodier. Now when it comes to Regal, it gives a really warm bronze color tone. So I like the fact that black gold was really rich, but I really like the fact that Regal was really warm and also a little bit lighter. So what I can do here is, on top of having both of these actions run, I'm going to be changing the opacities of these. So for instance, I'll come down to the Regal folder here, and I'm going to change the opacity to about 40%. Now with black gold being on top of the layer palette, I'm going to be changing this to around 30% because it was at 60% before. Now when you combine these two together, you're able to get a really rich tone and a good direction on where to go. And from here, if you decide to fine-tune any of these particular palettes, you're then able to do so. Conversely, if you also want to tweak it by adding any additional layers, I would simply come up top where the main folder is, perhaps add another folder and name it color toning or color grading, depending on what you want to do, and then add any of the other adjustment layers. So maybe I want to tweak the exposure, so I'll add a curve and begin tweaking the highlights and making it totally my own image just based on seeing where this is headed. So there you have it. Hopefully this gives you some ideas in terms of color grading and using actions as a good reference point.